This is exactly how I would build an email marketing agency to generate $1 million in revenue per year. My name's Gavin. I run an email and SMS marketing agency, so I am pretty qualified to talk about this. Note, I have not generated myself $1 million in revenue yet. I think we're probably closer more to about 800K in total revenue. So take everything I say with that in mind as I kind of educate on my process and how I'm trying to get there rather than how I have already gotten there in the past. There are three things I would focus on when it comes to building an email marketing agency. Number one is actually finding a team. The first thing you're gonna need to be able to do is to get to $1 million is scale your agency. Most people who are at that $200,000 a year kind of mark, which typically means, really about $18,000 of revenue a month, can typically fulfill that service for a select few clients themselves. They can probably do the designing, do the copywriting, maybe use a freelancer here to build some of the emails, do the flows. You don't need a team in place to get you to that $1 million a month range, or rather that 18 to 20K a month kind of range, because you really only are gonna have like 3 to 4 clients with those kinds of numbers. The thing that you're gonna need to do though, is you're gonna need to get a team on board to actually help you grow. I have found for email marketing, the most important role that I hire first is actually the designers. Because the design is where I spend the majority of my time for my agency. I have a team of 2 or 3 designers at any given time. 2 of my designers are full-time. And what that allows me to do is then focus more on the strategy part of the business, on the actual sales calls, all that stuff that actually, moves the needle both for the client, but also moves the needle for my business when it comes to lead generation. The second team member I would hire would be a builder. So a person who can take your email designs, build them into your ESP of choice, whether that be Omnisend or Klaviyo. And then the third person I would look at hiring is gonna be a copywriter. I know it feels kind of weird nowadays with ChatGPT coming around, but the reality is for copy, you still need somebody who can look over some of this stuff. I'd bring those people on as a part-time role, and then gradually, as you grow, get a project manager to kind of get you closer to freeing up your time to focus on sales calls. For context, I have a team of 6 that are full-time. I have 2 project managers, 2 designers, 2 builders, and then I have 2 part-time copywriters. And that we're currently at, last month we did about 78,000 USD in revenue. That team has allowed me to get to there. And I actually don't think we could be any smaller at the current revenue numbers that we're at. So building a team is one of the most important things you're gonna be doing. The next thing you're gonna be doing is actually finding a good source of leads. And here's the problem. When you're just starting out, when you're at like 200, 300, 400K a year, odds are the lead generation that you're getting is either from referrals, connections, or just you potentially going to networking events and stuff like that. That is incredibly hard to scale. Okay? You need to have a source of traffic that is somewhat predictable to be able to bring in consistent leads. Me personally, having the 78K last month, I still find that I don't have a consistent source of leads to get me to that next step. I use a combination of referrals. I use a combination of past connections with clients. Obviously, we have a bunch of clients in the past who've, once again, given us referrals, and we have a few agencies that white label us. And I also use a combination of YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, and then my most effective source of leads right now, as of 2025, has been Upwork. And I'm gonna link a tool that I use down in the description of this video to automate the process of applying for jobs. But even then, I still need a consistent source of leads, and that is ultimately going to come from ads. I've invested a bunch of money in SEO, but SEO is once again unpredictable. Ads are gonna be your most predictable source of traffic and therefore revenue. So at some point you're gonna need to start running ads, okay? I'm not the expert on ads just yet. I'm running ads literally today as I'm recording this. This is my first video for my ads go live. So I'll report back on that later. So that's number 2. You need a consistent source of traffic and you need to have a good team in place. And the other thing you need to have is a good pricing model for your email marketing. Because I see so many agencies out there who are selling retainers between 1 to 2K. That is gonna be incredibly hard to scale that up until 100K if you're at 1 or 2K. Because the reality is at 1 to 2K a month, retainers, when you're selling your services, you are gonna either have to service 100 or really 88 clients or 44 clients. Because 88 clients at 1,000 for a retainer is 88,000 a month. Multiply that by a year, should get you pretty close to about $1 million. My maths might be wrong. Same again for the 2,044 clients. That's incredibly hard to manage. If you're charging $5K a month for your services, the increased workload is probably only gonna be about 50%, as opposed to if you have 2 clients that pay you $2K a month, you're not even at the $5K, but you've increased your workload by 100%. Perhaps even more, because you actually have to manage the team a little bit more. So really making sure that you dial in your pricing. And for email marketing, I have found that making sure that you price your services in a way that keeps you on from a month-by-month basis is gonna increase your retention rate. For example, a lot of the projects that we do for email marketing tend to be like flow builds, right? Build out my automations. Once that's done, it's done, right? And more often than not, people will be like, hey, thank you, we're done, you've done a great job, we're gonna do everything else ourselves. The way to secure more revenue over a longer period of time with those offers is actually to say, hey, instead of me doing all your flows for an upfront fee or 50% upfront, 50% upon completion, I'm actually gonna stagger the workout and focus on the most important automations in the first month, the second most important in the second month, and the third most important in the third month. And what you end up doing is you can price your offering and spread the pricing out over 3 months. And what that does is it allows you to start building your stickability. And so if you have, instead of say, I'm gonna build 10 flows for you for $6,000, 50% upfront, 50% upon completion, it's a $6,000 deal, but you could probably get that done in 30 to 45 days. Take the offer that you're doing and say, hey, these 10 flows, I'm gonna build them out over 3 months, or hey, you could even do it over like 5 months. And I'm gonna do 2 flows per month, and it's gonna cost $2,000 a month. Tell them that the reason you do that is because it's gonna help them manage their cash flow, and we're gonna be focusing on the most important flows initially to help generate more of that cash flow. What that does is it actually allows you to increase your LTV. It does mess with cash flow a little bit because you're not collecting as much cash up front, but it also allows you to secure a relationship that lasts longer. It also allows you to parlay that relationship into other opportunities as time goes on. Because you'll find that your clients that you've been working with for like 3 to 6 months, you have a much easier chance of upselling other services, cross-selling other services, introducing referral partners than you do with the person that you're only working with for 1 month. So that, or rather those, are the things that I have done to help my agency get to where it is. Now, once again, we're probably gonna be doing $800,000, potentially $900,000 in revenue this year, and those are the strategies that I'm using. I think my ads are the missing piece to what I've currently done so far. So once again, to recap, you need a good team, you need an ad strategy, you need a good pricing model to get you to that $1 million a year revenue mark. Thanks for watching. Once again, I just make these videos really to document my journey and potentially, help people who are in the same process or stage of business that I'm in. So if you find this video useful, subscribe, smash the like button, check out my other channel where I focus just on email marketing, and subscribe to my newsletter. A bunch of cool free resources in there as well. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you in the next one.